Hey guys, what's going on? It's Big Pasta 92 here, and I wanted to make a quick video today, just a little how-to guide that somebody asked me to make on how to get started in the hardcore challenge. If you haven't really heard of it, or you're not familiar with the rules, or you don't know how to use OBS to record your run, or if you're even scared away from it because it all just sounds too complicated, I just wanted to make a quick video that's going to let you know everything that you need to know about how to get started quickly in the hardcore challenge. It'll take less than 20 minutes to get set up and good to go. If you guys enjoyed the video and you find it helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also check me out at twitch.tv/BigPasta92. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's get started. So let's start by explaining what is the hardcore challenge. And the simple answer is it's just kind of a different way to make the game more challenging, to get more out of the actual leveling experience in the game by giving it additional challenges. There isn't like a physical reward you're getting, although Blizzard has implemented the buff and a title and cool stuff like that. That actually has very little to do with where the hardcore game mode came from. So the idea of adding harder variations to WoW leveling, it dates back pretty far. It goes back like a decade, back to the hardcore Iron Man challenge, which is obviously different than this. In the hardcore Iron Man challenge, you could only equip white and gray quality items on your character, and you could not spend any talent points. Other than that, you could not die, etc., etc. That was actually even a little bit more extreme. That has been around for God knows how long, but the newer hardcore challenge has been something that has been updated more recently and revived by a bunch of content creators in the community, and it's actually kind of given the game a little bit more of a community aspect to where you can play with more than one person. It's not entirely a solo challenge anymore. Now it's actually a way for you and your friends to really up the ante and increase the difficulty of the playthrough, and also just kind of add value to those 1 to 60 level grind throughs that really are kind of just the longest tutorial in gaming. Leveling really has very little impact on what you're actually going to do on the character in endgame, and hardcore makes it so that every decision you're making is immediately much more important because it could be over in any second. So taking that into consideration, death is not the only risk that you're actually going to be running here. You're going to have to play by a pretty strict set of rules that keep you from getting, an easy edge. And the rules do vary a little bit just based on what you're running. You can run as a solo, a duo, and a trio right now. I have heard people talking about a 5-man hardcore group. I don't know how that would work realistically, just because getting 5 people online at every point in time to all level all the way to 1 to 60, that would be a feat. Even getting 3 people online, I think, would probably be a little bit difficult. But that's neither here nor there. The basic rules for the hardcore challenge, if you're just going at it as a solo, if you just want to play by yourself as a solo toon, the simplest rule that everybody's heard of is death equals delete, right? If you die, that's it, delete the character. You can also leave the character as a perma ghost if you want to. I'd assume then at the end of SOM, you can transfer it right over to the Legacy Classic servers, and then you could just have a normal character like that. But if you're playing by the rules, you delete the character. It's gone. That's it. Or you can leave it as a perma ghost. Those are your 2 options. There are no profession restrictions at all. There are no talent restrictions at all. All gear and items are allowed that you self-craft, obtain yourself, quest, NPCs, etc. You just can't trade with people. That's simple. No auction house, no player-to-player mail. Collecting NPC mail is permitted. Your personal bank can be used. There is no trading of any kind with any other player, not even conjurables. That is paramount. So no soul stones, no hellstones, no conjured water, no anything. This is a big one that hasn't really got a clear-cut answer to it. Buffs and player interaction. World and player buffs and assistances are permitted so long as you do not ask for them or continue taking help. So, here's the deal. There's really not a lot you can do to prevent somebody from helping you. And you don't necessarily just need to stop doing what you're doing if someone is just killing the same stuff that you are. It probably doesn't equal a DQ, but if you're streaming and like people are helping you, I just kind of advise that you let them know. That's not really the fun part. If you cheat even a little bit in the hardcore challenge, it kind of tarnishes the whole thing. So you really don't want to do that. It's a very silly way to go about it. Just try and play with as much integrity as you can. As far as acquiring buffs in the world, everybody's kind of doing it. It's the same as it's always been, right? Like, you buff me, I buff you, you run by someone, you buff them. Really not much has changed, so there really isn't much to enforce. It's just kind of don't go around asking for buffs. Don't ask. That's the rule. When it comes to help, just don't ask. There is absolutely no grouping in the open world unless you're en route to a hardcore dungeon, and that brings about the very next big thing we want to talk about here is dungeons. And this is what makes the hardcore challenge very different from the Iron Man challenge. Dungeons are authorized. You can only run them with other hardcore characters, verified hardcore characters. Right now on SO1, they actually also have to have the add-on and be in one of the hardcore guilds, the authorized hardcore guilds. They are HC Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot, respectively, I think is what we're up to now. There's like 8 guilds. Just, ask the general chat, they'll get you in. But either way, to get into the dungeon, you need to be at the right level for the summoning stone. Can't be higher, can't be lower. You need to be within the summoning stone range. You can only run each dungeon one time, one dungeon ID. You can stay in group to do dungeon quests, not elite quests, dungeon quests, only dungeon quests. You can stay in group to complete them outside the instance, and that's about it. Other than that, you don't kill mobs on the way through unless you have to, unless they're in between you and the dungeon. You don't finish other quests while you're in the group. You don't do anything but the dungeon while you're grouped up with other hardcore characters. That's it. So, you can engage in open world PvP in the STV arena events if you so desire. However, joining battlegrounds and using ranking and PvP faction gear is forbidden. Can't be using PvP stuff in this challenge. You're not really supposed to be killing the other faction. You're supposed to be trying to survive the elements and never, ever, ever die. Duo and trio rules are just the exceptions for if you want to level with someone else. So you can take on this challenge with someone else. You always have to be in the same zone as them. You have to start in the same zone as them. For instance, if you want to start like a gnome and a dwarf, that's the only real race disparity you can have, or, troll, orc. Anything that starts in the same zone is okay. You must always be logged on together at the same time, even if you're not questing. You can't be logged in individually, right? You need to be working as a unit. It's kind of like the two are one. It's a duo, but you really only are one whole hardcore character. And the reason why is your soul is bound. One of you dies, the other must fall on the sword and the run is over. One death for a duo or trio equals end of the run. And you must all die and delete, or permaghost, whichever you decide to do. Now, that is an added risk, but with an added risk comes added benefit. You are allowed to trade. You can trade anything in the game to your hardcore duo or trio. That's crafted items, that's, profession items, that's gold, literally anything. You can trade them. That's completely fine. So as far as class combination goes, we already went over this. Just same starting location, unless you can find a way to travel to the other starting zones at level 1. You might want to double check that because the website and the Discord have conflicting rules. They're not always updated at the same time. So by the time this video comes out and is actually being watched, it might have changed. So always, guys, double check the Discord and the website before you take any of this verbatim, because this is just kind of a quick overview. We're really going to get into the technical stuff in a minute or two. Just bear with me, because the last thing I want to explain is the difference between the hardcore challenge that we just explained and the Road to Rag hardcore challenge that is currently taking place. The Road to Rag hardcore challenge is basically the extension of the hardcore challenge. The hardcore challenge is just get to 60, don't die, you're immortal. Go down in the Hall of Legends. Not too many guys have done it. At least they hadn't up until, Season of Mastery came out and this became much more popular. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of really, really talented gamers doing it soon enough. But as for now, this is the ultimate endgame goal, and that is to kill Ragnaros. Now, as you can imagine, it's going to be very difficult to clear Molten Core with 40 hardcore characters and have none of them die. Almost impossible, probably impossible. No one knows if it can even be done, but that is the objective. Everybody has to play by the hardcore rules up until 60. Now, at 60, they can actually start spamming dungeons. You can start farming dungeons more than once you're level 60. If you die, death is still delete or permaghost, whatever. You still only get one life. And if we're going, and you have to make it all the way to Ragnaros and kill Ragnaros. That is the ultimate end goal in this community event. Now, you might say, but I don't think I'm going to be able to catch up to all these guys in time. If they're already level 60 and I'm just getting started, there's no chance I get into that raid. That may be true. The odds probably aren't in your favor. You're probably getting into it in the 7th inning of a 9-inning ball game if you want to kill Ragnaros with the first raid group. Yes. But that being said, we don't even know if this is entirely possible. And what's also true is if people die in molten core, then they're going to need the next man up. If a healer dies, you can't just res him. He's dead. You need to wait for another healer to get from 0 to 60, right? Or you need to take one off the bench and keep going. So, I mean, if this proves to be more difficult than people might think it is, or if this proves to be even, impossible, this could take a lot of time to do. I don't think people are going to give up on it. I think there's going to be a lot of attempts, and there could be people cycling through, so you have no idea how often it could happen. But if that is something you're interested in, nothing else in this challenge is actually really even something that you need to prove to anybody, right? This could all be just personally for your own pure enjoyment. But if you do want to take part in the Road to Rag challenge and participate in the raid, then we have to start talking about verification. And verification is the one thing that kind of scares people off from this game mode, because they think it's this big, scary, overhanging thing. And if you don't do it right, then you could lose all your progress, and it couldn't be further from the truth. This is really, really simple stuff, and I'm going to show you how with the same software that I'm using to make this video. It's called OBS Studio. It only takes 2 seconds. And then if you need to use it, it's usually only for griefer purposes and DC purposes. The add-on is actually so good now that if you can just do the whole run and you do it successfully and you don't die and there's no DCs and no griefers or anything, you don't even need to record your run. I would suggest it because there's going to be some cool stuff happens along the way and you're going to want to record it, but you don't even have to record this using all your hard drive space. You can just record this on OBS by dumping the footage. You can record 30 seconds and, dump it, record 30 seconds, dump it, and then just have a little button that you click to save the last 30 seconds if something bad happens, or you could just live stream it to Twitch with OBS and they store all the VOD footage anyway. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to obsproject.com. If you type OBS Studio into your Google search bar, it'll literally be the first thing that comes up. If you have Windows, you click Windows, there you go. Click save, open up the file wherever you got it. I already have it downloaded, so we're just going to open it up right here. And all of this confusing stuff isn't really an issue. So you don't need to have any audio whatsoever. That's not important. You don't need to be streaming, unless of course you want to. You can, that's a different video. You don't even need to be recording. The only thing you need to worry about for the protection for yourself is this replay buffer. And this replay buffer actually uses an astoundingly small amount of memory. All you have to do is go into your settings and under your output, switch the output mode to advanced, then go to your replay buffer. I like to set mine to 120 seconds. It doesn't use that much memory. And then you just click enable, and it's that simple. You can set up a hotkey too in the hotkeys for your replay buffer. And then, mine is a number pad plus, right? So if I just click number pad plus on my keyboard at any point in time, it's going to save the last 120 seconds of whatever happened. So yours obviously is not going to look like mine. Yours is going to look like a blank screen because you don't have any scenes set up yet. So once you have your replay buffer all set and ready to go, and you're ready to start recording, what you're going to do is you're going to go down to scenes here. So go ahead and click the little plus button next to scenes. I already have a bunch, so it doesn't matter, but just name it like Road to Rag or WoW or whatever you want, and then click the plus button under sources immediately after you've named it. And you can set up a game capture and a display capture. The difference is the display capture will capture your whole screen like I'm doing right now. The game capture will capture just the game. But you want to have both just because sometimes they're buggy and they don't render in right away, or they just don't work all together with some softwares and they just get glitchy, or one works and not the other. Just get both. It's much, much easier. And once you do that, just open up World of Warcraft, click on game capture, set this to capture a specific window under mode, and then click World of Warcraft or any other game that you want to do really. And just make sure you have your replay buffer active and going. Click the arrow and it'll record the last 30 seconds of anything you need. But also it's very important that if anything goes wrong, you also click the recording button. Have a recording path set up. Do that under settings, output, recording, audio, replay buffer, all your settings. Even if you want to stream, you can do some stuff there. And there's a bunch of OBS tutorial videos that'll go deeper into this. It's super simple stuff, guys. All you have to do is set up under output all of your settings, video, just your resolutions, basic stuff, and then under hotkeys, like right there, replay buffer. make a hotkey, click that button. It'll save the last 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, whatever you had to do. Really simple stuff. If at any point the game capture or the display capture isn't working, just click the little eye next to it and refresh it a couple times, and then reopen whatever application it's set to, World of Warcraft specifically in this case, and it should fix really quickly. You just have to tinker with it a little bit. That should solve most of the issues that you're going to have if it's not working correctly. All right, now that you got your OBS set up and ready to go, we're going to go over to the Season of Mastery servers. So the beta access has since been finished. If you played on the beta, you used to have to tab over here and click specifically on a Season of Mastery tab. That's obviously not there anymore. So the Season of Mastery live servers are actually just right on the regular vanilla classic servers, the same as the legacy servers. So you just go ahead and you click over there. They've got the seasonal server at the bottom and the regular classic era at the top. So if you're trying to decide where you want to play, technically, like I said, the hardcore challenge has been around a lot longer than the Road to Rag hardcore challenge, right? And, you know, obviously the other variations of hardcore were around before that too. But if you are just looking for the regular vanilla, no SOM hardcore server, technically it's Bloodsail Buccaneers RP on classic era servers. I'm not sure if there's anyone still playing over there. I have to imagine most of the people are still probably gonna be over on the SOM classic servers, but either way, so the SOM server is going to be Obsidian Edge. It's US West, it's a normal server, and it's actually been pretty cool because the biggest thing about Obsidian Edge right now is that nobody's actually like from just Obsidian Edge. It's basically, or no one's like from just the West Coast. It's basically an international server, and this is where the Road to Rag challenge is taking place. This is where all the hardcore guilds are. This is where the hardcore elite guild has been formed, the actual guild that's going to be going into Molten Core and taking those first attempts. So this is the place to be. This is the spotlight. If you guys were interested in the Road to Rag challenge and you wanted to know where's this hardcore stuff happening, this is the server. All you have to do is make sure that you have the hardcore add-on installed before you log in. Make sure you have the hardcore add-on installed and updated. I'm going to put a link to the Classic HC website down in the description below. Once you load in and the hardcore add-on is working as it should be, you're going to see your character activity is being monitored. You can open up the hardcore add-on and it's going to give you another quick copy of the rules there. Double check this for any rule changes, anything like that. Also check the Discord. I'll put a link to the Discord in the description as well, and just kind of familiarize yourself with that. It also records all your levels. It gives you all the information on verification, and it'll also show you if you're in one of the guilds, the add-on status of the people, and you can kind of use this to verify people for your hardcore dungeon groups, because once again, you are only allowed to do dungeons with other hardcore players just because the stakes are very, very high, right? Obviously, and you kind of want to vet these people a little bit, right? You don't want to risk your whole entire run with somebody who isn't going to be doing the challenge right, or isn't, you know, taking the challenge seriously, or maybe might not even be that experienced, which isn't really anyone's fault, but still you don't want to die over that. Right, so the next part that we'll get into is a little bit of just basic strategy, and it's hard to give strategy that's going to apply to every single class, and, you know, specifically with solo and duo, but like some general rule of thumb, especially getting started, is just take everything slow. If you've never done this before, just play your best class, because naturally you're going to be getting used to hardcore anyway. You really can't be learning your class along the way if you've never done the hardcore challenge before. You really just kind of need to focus on that first. And then if you do it, or you feel like you start to feel comfortable and then maybe you want to change classes or something, fine, go ahead. It's actually good to have a lot of alts, like maybe level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 alts, just in case you do die. You hate starting back from level 1. It's really, really useful to have a couple alts sitting around, or maybe have a solo character and a duo character, right, that you're playing with a buddy, so that you're not just always grinding monotonously, and kind of keeps it fresh. Also, watch streams. Watch some of the guys that have been doing this for, you know, a year or two, or however many before the hardcore challenge and the Road to Rag challenge had even become a thing. Watch a lot of these guys on Twitch. I'm going to put a couple links in the description of really good hardcore streamers that I know, as well as the links to the hardcore YouTube channel, hardcore Discord, and the hardcore website. Also, another very helpful tidbit of information is just make sure that you grind 1 to 5 and then go to the city with at least 2.5 silver. And no matter what professions you want to roll, I suggest everybody pick up mining and skinning right off the bat. If you're in a duo, just make sure you get mining, skinning, herbalism, every gathering profession you can possibly get just at level 5, buy the tools that are required, and just gather everything and sell it. Gather everything and sell it, as much money as you possibly can, and buy your first 4 linen bags for 5 silver each. It's gonna save you so much time if you just buy this first set of bags, and then the other bags you can either get from quests, or if you want to go tailoring in a duo, that's kind of acceptable, although I don't think it's a very strong profession early on. You could do that if you so choose. There's also a few quests that'll end up getting you 10 slot bags closer towards level 20, but for early strategy, money is going to be everything. So between levels 5 and 10, I suggest you just gather everything and sell. And you can drop professions, you can kind of min-max it a little bit. I've been having my duo go skinning and leatherworking, and once you get up to 40 leatherworking, you can make a bunch of green chest pieces, disenchant them, level enchanting up to 70, and make greater wands, or you could just level enchanting up to 5 and make lesser wands, I think they're called. They're a level 5 wand that you can get early on, and if you can do that, then you can avoid waiting all the way until Westfall to potentially get a wand from a quest, and then you can drop enchanting altogether, because in hardcore you can't really level enchanting. You don't have a blacksmith to make the bars for you, and you can't trade, right? So it's just kind of a useful little tool to pick it up real quick and drop it, and you can combine professions in this way all throughout your leveling experience. But early on, for pretty much every class, I suggest skinning, mining. If you're a duo, also add herbalism in there, and just sell everything you can until you guys have a good financial footing, then pick the other things. Also, very important, make sure you level cooking. Cooking will actually double up the value of all the meats that you loot. If you loot a boar meat and it sells for 3 copper, well, cook it. Now it sells for 6 copper. You're doubling up money that way too. Level fishing, that's good extra income. There's also a quest or 2 you can do that involve fishing along the way. Probably even more than that. I don't know. I've never leveled fishing. I'm just doing it because in hardcore, money is everything. So you kind of want to level everything that you can for free. That's pretty much it for now, guys. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's actually immensely helpful for me, and it's absolutely free. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.